Unfortunately, this has been infected by politics like so many things. And some people think this is just hysteria and media hype. I mean, the president himself said on Monday the fake news media and their partner, the Democratic Party, is doing everything to inflame the coronavirus situation. So there are people out there who believe this, and they are going about their business like nothing's going on. And we have about 10, 15 seconds for you to get your message to them, for people who aren't afraid of coronavirus and think it's just politics and hype.
Well, obviously, there's been some irresponsible rhetoric, but the American people should know that President Trump has no higher priority than the health and safety and well-being of the people of this country.
Just a few minutes ago, Vice President Mike Pence was asked by Savannah Guthrie on the Today Show whether the rhetoric downplaying the threat of the coronavirus by some was appropriate. Pence went on to credit the president's efforts to fight the virus.
I will say this, though. Listen, we can spend the next 2 or 3 months in the middle of this global crisis nitpicking every word. All right, I understand. It's going to be pitched politically. People are going to be covering their backsides because of how badly they handled this crisis from the very beginning. But I just will say, Willie, we have to look in every statement for a ray of hope. And in this case, when Mike Pence said there's been some irresponsible rhetoric there, we need to focus on that, just like we needed to focus last night on the fact that the President of the United States called this what it was, a global pandemic. So, again, I'm not waving a wand of absolution. I wouldn't have that power anyway. I'm just saying that I do see the vice president this morning and the president even last night, despite the many failures of that address, at least starting to take this seriously, which here's the most important thing. Here's the most important thing. Gives healthcare officials like Dr. Fauci the free rein to be as aggressive as they need to be to get testing out, to push social distancing, and to speak the truth to the American people at last.
Vice President Pence used the passive voice, said there has been some irresponsible rhetoric, but clearly he was answering a question from Savannah about the President of the United States. We don't see that very often. I guess we'll take it. But the truth is, as John Meacham talked about earlier, and you and I have been saying for a week now, you almost have to look past the president, look at the experts, look at Dr. Fauci, as you mentioned, look at the people, the scientists and the doctors who have information, the people we've had on this morning who know what they're talking about. Don't worry about the president's tweets. Stay focused on the doctors and the scientists. Let's bring in.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.